Hello and welcome to the Game Week 8 video. And before I start, I just wanted to please ask for anyone that does come across these videos, if you could please hit the subscribe button to help me start out. I'm sure if any of you have tried to start a YouTube channel before, probably the hardest part is starting out and getting a following going. So I'd really appreciate you guys being one of my first followers. And that'll be really awesome, just so I have some kind of basis for coming up next year, because I know this year is almost over. And I am in 15th right now, so I think what I have to say is kind of valid, uh, based on I think I'm in 15th and less than 20 points off the top. So, I don't know, not trying to brag or anything, but hey, it might be worth watching one of these videos. Anyway, this is going to review the final points game week of the regular season for the Island Games, and as well look ahead into the group stage and what the plans are going there. So, looking forward, Pantomis had in goal. I originally thought I was going to switch him out for Henry, and then I saw the U21 minutes that Forge still hadn't completed, and I saw that Mann was going to be playing, so there was no point of either bringing in Henry and not having a goalie for the week, or bringing in Mann and then having to do another transfer to bring in Henry the following week. And that game, neither goalie did really great, so it doesn't really matter. Pantomis just gets me the 1 point. A lot of people have him, so it's not that bad. Mavila and Farsi pick up the double cavalry clean sheet, which is nice. Again, players that a lot of people do have, but at least I'm covering it, and if people don't have them, I'm making up a decent number of points on them, so that was good. I had a few substitutions come in. Novak and McNaughton didn't play, so Thompson and DiChiara weren't part of my original lineup, but they both came in. And York 9 looked pretty disappointing with the backs against the wall, and it's against the tough cavalry side. I did call it with my friend early in the week that the loser of Cavalry and York was going to be the one that was out. And I guess York, just with all of that promise coming into the season, all of that attacking firepower, just couldn't get the job done to get to the next round. They really didn't get off to the right start with 3 draws, and I called them out early, and then I almost regretted it, but turns out it is the case. York 9 is out of the Island Games. The midfield really sucked this past week. Sabak came on as a sub, which he was rested the previous game, so I thought he'd be starting. But for once, Bobby Smiriotis' rotation kind of made sense. If he's one of your top players, you might as well sit him in a game where you were guaranteed to go through anyway. Ottawa couldn't get anything done against Halifax. Halifax is looking pretty good. DiChiara and Aparicio, no free kick for Aparicio this week, therefore no goal for Aparicio, because he is the Pirlo of the CPL, as we can call him. And Blasco, I don't know why. I don't know if he got subbed off earlier or he got a yellow card, but him and DiChiara are both yellow card magnets, so I wouldn't be surprised. And then the attacking is what really came through for me this week. Garcia, with a kind of trickle-in goal through Zabal early in the game, which helped. So he got a goal for Halifax, and then Bustos with a late winner for Pacific, coming back 2 goals over Edmonton in about a third of a game to book their ticket to the next round. So congrats to Forge, Cavalry, Halifax, and Pacific for making it to the group stage of the Island Games. Guarantees themselves at least 3 more games. And it just made me happy that because I captained Bustos, gave another shot, and he rewarded me this time. And yeah, just in that last third of the game, Pacific was looking more like themselves, pressuring the net, getting good shots off, getting the ball, and Bustos getting a good opportunity, a nice curling shot into the left corner. The bench didn't do anything this week. I guess Novak's cut off there on the side a little bit, but yeah, Boskovic, McNaughton, and Zobrazemo all didn't play at all. And recapping the scores, we got 2-2 Forge vs Fowler, 1-0 for Cavalry over York 9, 2-0 for Halifax over Ottawa, and the big comeback victory 2-1 over Edmonton for Pacific. I ended the week at 40 points, which is up from the last couple weeks, but I did drop 2 spots in the rankings, but I cut the distance from first to myself in half almost. I think I'm less than 20 points now away from first. So I like the position that I'm in right now going into the group stage. 4 more game weeks to make up those points and go back to trying to climb the rankings and keep minimizing that gap from first, because first is ultimately where we all want to be. But without further ado, we will look forward to this team. And this team, out of all of them, there's a reason I didn't do a transfers post on my Instagram page, CanPL_Forged in Fire. And that's because it's a wild card week. So as you can see in the top right here, we have unlimited transfers this round until the game week starts. So things might change between this video and the start, as they did for the very first game week. As you saw, there were a lot of players that I didn't actually have in that video that I need to bring in late, so that could happen again. But I do want to make a video for it, and this is what I got so far. So like I said, I'm bringing Henry in goal, and if you watched my video from yesterday, doing tips and tricks on what to do for the group stage and wildcard coming up, one of them was don't put all your eggs in one basket and take too many from just one or two teams, which kind of is broken with my fortune. It's not just because they're my favorite team, but I did recommend take both the starting and backup goalie for a team. You do need to fill 2 goalie spots. You probably only need 1. You're probably going to play the same one every week. Get the backup 2 in case something happens to that starting goalie, or for whatever reason they're rotated. I doubt they will be. But that's why I have Henry and Mann. And it's nice because when they started dropping costs, then Henry didn't play because Mann played. So Henry actually went down 5K to 45 just because he got rested for a game. So that's a good bargain keeper to have. And then I guess Mann went up. So maybe that just considering offsets it, but he's only 30K, so it's fine. I feel like Mavila, Farsi, and Boskovic are all must-have players on your team. Farsi and Boskovic, they see a lot of time in their 25K. Farsi plays high up the field. I've said that enough times probably in the past few videos, but if this is your first one watching, that's why. Plays like a high winger role. And Mavilla's on penalties as a defender on a good cavalry team that gets clean sheets, and he gets forward a bit. Like, you can't not have Mavila on your team this year, I find. McNaughton I did take 2 Pacific defenders, McNaughton and De Jong, as we see down here. And both of them, their time has kind of been sketching me out. So if there are players that might change, those will probably be the ones. I don't know why McNaughton didn't start the last game. Their back's against the wall. I know it's against Edmonton. I don't think Ka would be too proud of himself to not start a fully strength, like his top lineup against Edmonton, despite them being so bad. But I don't know. Maybe he just took a stab and went, there's no point in making it to the next round if my team's going to be tired, so I'm going to rest them and hope we win against Edmonton. He played most of his top line, but McNaughton nor De Jong featured. Maybe that means they'll be good or better coming up. Then we got the midfield. I took a lot of the midfield that I already had in Sebak, Becker, and Blasco. I feel like Blasco, with the attack Pacific has, you have to have in there. Becker scored another goal. He just gets kind of unexpected goals. He seems like he almost has either a mid to deep defensive midfield role, but he's 1 goal behind the Golden Boot, behind Garcia, and I don't know, he's just finding his way to get goals, so you got to have him in there just because he finds a way. Sebak as an attacking midfielder for Forge is good, and Awua, I should have had him at the start. He started out really well, but I'm going to bring him in now, and I expect him to see more consistent minutes now that we're in the last 4 games. I think you're going to see less rotation now. Every game matters so much. One little slip up and you could see yourself out. 1 loss. Like, technically, we're in World Cup style group stage right now, and it's been a thing before where 3 teams were tied on 6 points, meaning 3 teams won 2 games, and still someone has to be out at that point. So just something to keep an eye on there. And then we got Novak, who didn't play last game. Finally, Babuli got played. He didn't do anything, so it didn't bother me that much. But Novak, I guess he played Babuli because the game didn't matter as much, and that means they're playing Novak next. Watch him still with Balbinati. But yeah, I'm going to go with Novak. And, of course, Bustos and Garcia. These players have been inflated in price like crazy. If for whatever reason you have cold feet on them, you can drop them and bring them in for whoever you want. They're both at 90K. That's 15K up from the maximum price at the start of the season. So just if you already have them in, maybe ride them for another week or 2, see if they keep getting inflated. And the guys are scoring goals. For me, Bustos is top player of the year so far this year, and Garcia is Golden Boot winner. Like, what more could you want? With a wild card opportunity, I think everyone should be trying to fit in those 2 strikers as part of their team. Probably a lot of people have Brown. I still don't know. Novak, like, just the forward striker worries me a little bit because I don't think Balbinati will be started again. and it doesn't look like he likes bullies. So maybe Novak's just the way to go. Maybe I should stop trying to overthink it. I did have some spots to fill. Sissoko for Halifax is a nice cheap option at 30k. He might get that clean sheet point for you. Halifax has been good defensively. I'd honestly say Halifax has probably been the best defensively out of these 4 teams. And then I think Pacific is the best attacking. It's just, that's the thing. Halifax really good defensive, although they have been scoring goals, so maybe I shouldn't even say that. But Pacific is definitely best attacking for me, and I think Forge and Cavalry have the best all-round games. I literally think anyone can win this right now. Like, it's very tight. The gap is not as big as it was last year by any means. It's just going to come down to who's ready to play each day and collect the points. But anyway, that's what my team's looking like for the wild card. I'll be making a final team post closer to the date, probably later on today, but just see if I make any changes because I want to make it as accurate as possible. And I'm thinking Sabak is captain right now. I might change it to Mavilla because they can get clean sheets, and if he gets a penalty, having a double scoring on, I think I will do that. I'm going to switch that right now and maybe lock it in. Maybe I have to change this first. But I think Mavilla is going to be my captain. I'm going to hope that Cavalry gets a penalty or something. Our first 2 games for the group stage are going to be Halifax and Forge, and Cavalry and Pacific. They're on the same day on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. And I hope it's exciting. There's no bad teams left. Anything can happen. Don't rely too heavily on your defense because teams can score, which kind of goes against what I just did with my captaincy, but that's because I'm thinking there's going to be a goal, not necessarily a clean sheet. That would just be bonus. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, everyone. Have fun and good luck and enjoy the rest of the island games.